Appreciate you guys tuning in. We're here till 10 p.m. Central Standard Time right here at Junction Bar and Grill, where the Sports Wrap Lounge is starting to fill up, as it always does.
Yep.
As we get ready for a great night heading into 420. Hey, you do what you want with that number, but we're going to enjoy ourselves. And I know they enjoy themselves over there at BC Smoke Shop at their 2 Houston area locations. Yeah, business is good this week for BC Smoke Shop. Yeah, and we've got that Rapp Pack special going down. If you spend $100 at any of their Houston area locations, you're going to get $20 off with the Rapp Pack special.
Wow.
$20 right off the top. And if you spend $200,
okay,
we're going to give you $40. So go over there, get yourself a nice piece, a nice vintage ashtray. You know, they've got some nice glass art pieces over there, if you know what I mean. And
nice ceramics.
If you're getting ready for voluntary off-season workouts, you might want to go over there and clean out your system. They've got all the best in cleansing.
If you want to do a cleansing, you know. There's a lot of people on the health kicks now. People just want to do a good
all those kids from Oregon. Have you heard about this Oregon report with all the college kids?
I don't know. We'll get into that in just a little bit.
Yeah, they need to hit up the...
I don't want to go BC Smoke Shop to Oregon.
They need to hit up the BC Smoke Shop to get themselves some clean urine.
All right, well, check them out on Westheimer or in over there, 1960 and Jones Road.
This guy.
Well, we got to rip open that bag of NFL nuggets right now because we are joined by a very special guest, and we want to give a warm Rapp Pack welcome to the newest member of the Sports Talk 790 family, ND Kalu. How are you, sir?
Round of applause, please.
Let's flip that mic on. You might have a switch on that mic.
As they say, is this thing on?
Mic check, is it working?
1, 2,
yeah.
1, 2.
I appreciate the intro. I'm just glad to be a part of the show. Like I was telling Bun, you know, I've been listening to you all Thursdays and Sundays, and I love the flavor that you're bringing. It's something new. It's positive. It's not the same old crusty stuff that we're used to hearing.
Thank you, sir.
Well, we want to see you bring your flavor.
Exactly.
And mix it with our flavor and just kick it up a notch on this thing.
That's what we're going to do. That's why I'm here.
That's right.
You know, this is something that you obviously won't remember, but on my recruiting trip to Rice University, I was at a club and I met you.
Oh, wow.
And at the time, we were the biggest, still am, UGK fans. And you talked to me for about 30 minutes. You didn't know who I was.
Right.
Then you said, hold on, I got to go perform. Then you performed.
He knew you'd be an owl. He knew that you would be owls someday.
But I just want to tell you that meant so much to me. I went back to San Antonio. That's where I grew up. And I told my whole crew, man, I spent about 30 minutes with Bun. If they're like, man, you lying, you lying.
Nobody believed you.
You know, that just shows how humble you were to sit there and talk to some Nigerian kid with nappy hair for 30 minutes and perform. So
hey, look, Trill recognized Trill.
Thank you very much.
See that. And I started my own clique, and we were called UGT, Underground Tribe, because we didn't want to get rolled on by y'all. But that's all right. A true story. But
Tribe Gladiators.
Tribe Gladiators.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that.
Absolutely.
Well, everything happens for a reason.
And here we all are right now. Well, you know, little tiny twist on the story. I just checked out of the Emily Morgan right behind the Alamo today.
Oh, okay.
Took the wife and daughter out there for a little getaway on a work trip. So we were in San Antonio, where my man Indy hails from.
Say town.
Yeah, man. Great time out there. Great time. You know, anytime the weather's perfect and you're out on that river walk, sitting under the bridge, having dinner, there's no better place to be than Texas. Yes. And no better place to be on Sports Talk 790 from 10 to 11 a.m. is in the trenches with you and Greg Koch. So I want you to tell us a little bit about how this all came together. We know you've done some radio, but how did you team up with Greg Koch to come over to the fam?
Oh, you know, we were both on the other station, and I have nothing negative to say about them, but we pretty much just had guest roles there, and we felt like this is Houston, this is Texas, this is the football bed of America. How come there isn't a show, whether you call it a niche show or a specialty show, that's not dedicated to football? And we did it once on that station. We had rave reviews, but they didn't like the idea of two athletes together. So, you know, Erickson at 790 gave us a chance. We appreciate that shot, and it's only been a week, but, man, we're loving what we're doing, and we bring a different flavor because I'm not saying it's a better point of view, but it's just different. Guys that played, I played 12 years, he played 11, so we give you some locker room stories in our show.
Well, you know, lately, like, you know, there's been a big debate about, you know, the analyst versus the journalist versus the commentator, you know what I'm saying? How do you feel about, you know, the way say that, maybe some people have kind of been crossing the line where they're not necessarily talking about sports, but they get to talking about the athlete, where it goes from analyzing the game to analyzing a person. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about that?
It bothers me. And before I say that, I know there's some, and I'm not one of those guys that believes you had to play a sport to speak on it.
Right.
Because when I was out there busting my ass, working out, running, those guys were studying the sport. So I respect them, but just like you talked about, Bun, I don't like when they cross that line and they attack a character. I don't like when they sitting there saying that Dwight Howard is selfish. Dwight Howard doesn't know what he wants to do. You don't know the whole story. You just know what you're hearing, what you're seeing when the camera's in front of them. You don't know what made them react like that. So that bothers me, but I know it's always going to happen because most of the guys on air, they're envious of these athletes. That's why you have the guys like Skip Bayless who love you. I mean, just when you hear them talk about Tiger Woods, for example, I know it's an old story. You can hear the joy in their voice when they report the pains and struggles somebody's gone through.
Right.
And what kills me is when they sit up there and say, "I never would have done what Tiger Woods did." Yeah, you never would have had the opportunity because hoes don't want you. You know what I'm saying? You're just sitting there, not attracting anybody.
Can I get? Yeah.
Oh, we say that on the show. You can say that.
No, absolutely.
I'm giving you a funny joke. I just wanted to give you a badumps.
Oh, okay.
You get a.
Don't forget to tip your rates.
Absolutely.
So don't tell me what you won't do when you're never going to have the opportunity.
Right. It's easy to say what you won't do when you can't do it.
Right. Exactly. And I'm not condoning it. I'm happily married with 5 kids, but I'm just saying don't sit up here and act like you got almighty, but you've never had that opportunity.
These same guys are the guys that are going to run up to Tiger Woods and push everybody out of the way when he's coming off the golf course to smile in their face and say, "Can I get that interview?"
Exactly.
The Larry Merchants.
Let's not get into that.
I like Larry Merchant. Larry Merchant's a cool cat. He'll fight anyone.
Well, and he'll get his ass whooped if he really wanted to step in the ring.
We don't want to give those guys too much play on this show.
Look, let me ask you from a player's point of view, okay? We know you play in the NFL. You were drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles in 1997, I believe?
Yes.
Okay, we got the draft coming up. We're going to get plenty of draft talk tonight. But let me just ask you your experience as a football player, okay, not on the media side, but as a football player, what is it like dealing with the media on a day-to-day basis? Are there guys that you really kind of are magnetic to or kind of drawn to that you would rather talk to or come on their show as a player?
It's a little bit different. My last year was 2008, and that was right before the whole Twitter and all the social media just really blew up. But when I was playing, I just didn't know who the reporters were. Not to be a jerk or sound pretentious, we knew that we had to speak to them 30 minutes after practice, 10 minutes after a game, but it's not like I knew who they were. I didn't know what they were saying because I wasn't listening to sports radio when I was playing. I was listening to UGK and Scarface, driving up to the practice facility. So I didn't care. A lot of the guys, though, they will read the articles. They'll listen to sports radio. They'll hold grudges when you talk about different sportscasters or journalists. But I was ignorant at the time. I just didn't know who was what. I would answer the questions.
That's probably the best way to be, though. Because if you're worried about what people are saying about you, you might change your opinion of, oh, I know this guy something and says something about me, and then you might have that in your back of your mind. But if you're always thinking, I'm just going to answer the question honestly, you really don't have anything to worry about.
And you're right. Just answer the question, move on. I was never buddy with them. They had a job to do. I'll give them the answer. But I won't do what a lot of these players are doing now, and it's really disappointing that they're using the media to cry about certain things. After the Jacksonville Texan games, the defensive lineman for Jacksonville, we're going on tape saying that the offensive line's dirty. I mean, back when I played, we just handled it. If we felt they were dirty, we would say, okay, on the next play, we take this guy's ankles out. We don't sit there and cry to the media. So I just think the media is changing and the players, the type of attitude the players have changed.
I'm just curious, in the days leading up to the draft, with you being drafted before this whole new wave of information age, do you think players in your day had it better dealing with, I guess, the pressure of the draft as opposed to nowadays where there's so many different people coming at them? You know what I'm saying? What kind of pressure are the new guys under nowadays?
You know what they're under? That's a good question. They're under the pressure of seeing any and everybody's opinion. I knew coming out of Rice, I was either going to be from 4th round to priority free agent. And my attitude was, just get me in a camp. But they didn't have, all these different outlets where you have some guys saying you're going to go second round, getting your hopes up. And that's where guys, they end up being disappointed. I don't care if you're the number 1 pick or if you Mr. Irrelevant in the 7th round. If you got an opportunity to get your butt in the camp, you better be thanking God and be excited when you're going into it. But I think with all this information and 50 million different mock drafts out there, you got guys that they just don't understand about the opportunity and that their expectations are too high on draft day.
I think we've seen a little bit of that, Adam, with our own, Houston's own Arian Foster. He talks all the time about the opportunity he didn't even realize he had when he was on the practice squad, not knowing he could make the team. And then when he realized he could make the team, how he sort of took that, that sparked something in him, and then he ran with it. And he talked about just like
literally.
All he needed was just that chance, get me on the team, get me on the squad, and I'll show you what I can do.
And I understand why he was a little upset. He went to Tennessee, big-time school. He showed a lot of promise. I wasn't even really analyzing the college game at that time, but I knew who he was, and I was expecting him to get drafted, so I was surprised when he didn't get drafted. So I understand why he was a little bit upset, but he's absolutely right. You see so much talent that doesn't get drafted. You just better be happy with your opportunity and do what Arian Foster did. He took full advantage of it.
Definitely. I want you guys to take full advantage of these business cards I have on my table because they are Houston's top DWI lawyer, Gary Trichter's business card.
I'm going to need this for 420.
Please take one and stick it in your back pocket.
I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to put it in my wallet and keep my fingers crossed.
Hey, that's right. But you know what, Bun, if you are going to enjoy yourself on 420 or
I am.
Any other night,
I'll be honest,
I want you to do me a favor.
Okay.
Okay. First and foremost, if you can, I think we got some good friends here in the house, have a non-drinking designated driver.
Somebody raised their hand that's got my bag tonight.
Right off the top.
Jay Nate, really?
With a beer in his hand.
With a beer in his hand?
There you go, bud. There you go.
Come on, man.
You know what else you can do?
Come get a card, Jay Nature. Put this right there.
I'll take the fall for you.
That's right. That's right. Well, hey, you know what? If he can't drive, then you guys take a cab or a limo. Or like I tell you guys all the time, if you can't get out of Junction Bar and Grill without swerving, just lay it down in the RV. It's parked right out here in front. Lay it down for a little bit and then get home. Because both cost a lot less than calling Gary Trichter. And if you do decide to drink, then I'm going to tell you right now, don't be a knucklehead and have open containers in your car. I think pretty much everybody here is grown-ass folks, so they're not going to do anything dumb like that. But follow the traffic laws religiously. Do not give the officer a reason to stop you, because if you do get stopped, he's going to ask you a lot of questions, and he's not going to believe the answers you give him. So continue to be polite. Even if he says you cannot have a lawyer, Gons, you ask for your lawyer, and you tell him you want to call Gary Trichter immediately. Because remember, you're going to be on video, just like we are here. Amp Houston is in the house. They're recording the show. That cop is going to have a camera on his car somewhere, too, and he's going to record everything.
YouTube material.
Oh.
YouTube material.
You're looking at 1 million hits.
Yeah.
You're looking at 1 million hits. You're gonna be like our boy Brett. You're gonna end up an Ohio State fan.
You're gonna be singing
on the
some
side
AC/DC.
of the road somewhere. Yeah.
And it'd be like the guy singing, what was it?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
He cannot be my designated driver.
No, absolutely not. Well, you know what? We're glad he gets safe home every time, but it's going to cost you over $12,000, Brett, if you do get caught out there on the roads without my man's number in your phone. So if you want to save it in your phone right now, take it out. Save yourself the money, save yourself the hangover and the headaches, and put Gary Trichter's number into your phone. It's 713-524-1010. That's 713-524-1010. Call him in Houston, or if you have more questions, visit TexasDWILaw.com. All right, well, we're going to continue on with my man from the trenches. You can catch him on Sports Talk 790 Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And I'm so stoked that you're on the squad now. We run deep over there.
Oh, y'all run deep and y'all show a lot of love. Our first day, everybody came in to, dap us up, say welcome to the family. And I just like the vibe that I'm getting over there at Clear Channel. Then you can't beat it on the 4th floor. They have free beer. Greg and I are trying to get the show moved over to the 4th floor, but we're still trying to work that out.
You're also on at 10 a.m., so I have to question you need to get a picture maybe.
Take a card.
That was our first pitch, and we were like, hey, why don't we just broadcast from the bar there at Clear Channel? And they're like, oh, entertain guests and clients there.
Hey, we
I don't know
asked the
about
same
Sports
question
Live.
on day one. We're still working it.
Right minds think alike.
There it
Right
is.
minds think alike.
That's right.
All right. Well, hey, let's think like Rick Smith would think. All right. Let me ask you right off the bat. What were your thoughts about these Texans this year, this past year, the 2011 version of the Texans, and especially the job that Wade Phillips made on that defense, the impact he made on that defense?
When you talk about Wade Phillips, you obviously have to give credit to the players. You have guys like J.J. Watt, who's probably had the best rookie season that I've seen in a long time out of a defensive end. But Wade Phillips, he really made the difference. He's a real humble guy, and he won't like me saying that, but just the system he brought in, the culture, the way he utilized his talent, I think this season's going to be a success as long as Wade Phillips stays your defensive coordinator. They lost my boy Mario. You know, he got paid. Everybody's happy for him. But I still think the defense isn't going to drop off because you have a Wade Phillips in place.
That was my next question. Okay, now the defense stepped up to the plate really without Mario last year, and you know what? We've showed Mario a lot of love on this show over the years, even when we were just a little podcast.
It's sad that he had to go up to Buffalo.
It is.
Because no one's going to remember him in Buffalo. I mean, I don't even.
Andrew speaks the truth.
It's going to be tough for him to be as visible a player as he was in Houston. I'll say that much.
On an up-and-coming defense, okay?
Right.
So this defense really had to kind of bond together under Wade without Mario, their star, their #1 draft pick. How do you think going into 2012 they're going to take the next step to shut down a Baltimore in the end? And not saying they didn't do their job, but to get the stops to get to the next level.
Well, they're going to grow together. Then they have to make sure they add those 2 or 3 pieces for depth. I don't think they need to add somebody that's just going to step in and be a starter. You know, they brought in Brady James to try to fill in the void left by D'Amico Ryans. But I think with the draft, they need to really make sure that they draft some more outside pass rushers, because you can't go into the season with just Brooks Reed and Connor Barwin. This is football. It's a dangerous sport. Somebody's going to go down. So you need to have the same depth that you had last year.
Now, I'm curious, you know, I hear a lot of people are talking about the fact that with Peyton gone, that we're clear shoe-in for, you know, for our division. You know, that being said, you know, what kind of threat do you think Andrew Luck is going to bring to this division next year?
That's tough. I don't think he's going to have the same impact as Cam Newton. But everyone, all the report, you know what, I'm not going to sit up here and act like some expert. I don't know. When it comes, you just don't know the quarterback.
Right.
And if anybody does, they're speculating. It's obvious that he's been one of the best collegiate quarterbacks in the last 25 years. But you just don't know when it does or doesn't translate to the next level.
Do you think that this coach system is going to operate in a way to try to make this guy, you know, come out of the gate and be successful in his first season? I kind of feel like with the fact that Peyton is going to be playing next season, that they're going to be expecting a lot out of Andrew Luck.
Oh, you dead on. They're going to expect a lot out of him, and they're going to try to set it up for him to succeed. I think that was the #1 reason they figured out a way to sign Reggie Wayne, to have that veteran presence at the wide receiver spot, similar to what you saw with Steve Smith and Cam Newton. I think the people in Indianapolis said, you know what, we've dismantled this team, but we have to have a receiver for him. So they're going to try to make him succeed. They're going to start off with the little so-called dump passes, easy passes. They're going to do everything in their power to make sure he's comfortable.
But what kind of luck are they going to have with a wide receiver? I mean, you know, I don't know. It's just me, but I mean, with no veteran quarterback there behind him, really to give him his pointers, you know, it seems kind of awkward with the receiver teaching the quarterback, you know, and that's kind of the scenario that they set themselves up for. And I mean, I guess that's what they're expecting with Reggie to be there. But I know Reggie still has a little bit of loyalty to Peyton.
I also think the Colts aren't very set up to win right away, whereas I think you look at the Panthers last year, they at least had a good run game behind them, and they at least had wide receivers that were capable, and one that was a very veteran. I think you look at that Colts team, and they've never really been set at running back. I mean, Adai's not healthy and right, which hasn't been since maybe his first or second year in the league. That team really has struggled to run the ball consistently, and I think it's probably going to be at least a season or two until Andrew Luck has a full grasp to where he's out there really being a field general like we think he could eventually be.
Yeah, well, I think a good running game definitely would have taken a lot of pressure off of him, you know what I'm saying, as far as performing and really being out there. I mean, he's pretty much going to be out there on his own right now. I mean, he's going to have to throw, you know, God knows how many passes a game. And I don't know. I'm just really curious to see, you know, what they expect from him, you know, especially if Peyton gets off to a good start. You know?
Exactly.
I would expect them to sign a veteran, not now, but a veteran quarterback to kind of show them the ropes maybe after the draft. Because you're right. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care if you graduated from Stanford in 2.5 years. You need an older quarterback showing you the ropes, saying, hey, you know what? After a bad game, they're going to be booing you. Just giving them the little pointers. So
I think it's worth the investment of just having somebody there just to back him up, you know? Sure. I mean, mentally, not necessarily physically, but I mean more so mentally, just to keep him encouraged about the game.
That's what they did with Brunell and Sanchez in New York. Brunell was not there to play quarterback. He was there to mentor Sanchez to get him to that next level after Brunell had some success over his career. All right, well, let's keep it on the Texans. The draft, obviously, is next Thursday night, a week from tonight already. It's hard to believe,
quick,
man. Right on time. Waka Flocka, it's a party, and we're going to have a draft party.
Y'all on till midnight that day.
Woo, man.
I might have to swing through after we leave Reliant.
I'm already sweating.
They're going to be crazy. They're going to be crazy.
Sweating.
Oh, it's going to be a party, as Waka says.
Y'all doing it here?
No, we're going to be at Christian's Tailgate.
Okay.
Right after the draft show. Our good buddy Adam Wexler, Lance Zerline, and yourself. I think Greg Koch's going to be out there.
Yeah, Cook will be at Christian. I'll be at Reliant.
And you'll be checking in at Reliant.
Yeah.
Man, on the scene. You might have to end up back over there for Sports Rap Live. You never know.
Oh, yeah.
You might want to talk to Greg, see if you want to swap out.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's definitely going down. So I'm going to ask you right off the bat, you know, put your defensive cap aside. What are the Texans looking for in the first round next Thursday night?
Well, I have to put the defensive cap back on because I think with the depth that they have at the outside linebacker position, it's tough to pass up the wide receiver. Everybody wants a wide receiver, the number 2 wide receiver. They're not happy with Kevin Walter, Jacoby Jones, but I think you win championships on defense, and you cannot think that Brooks Reed and Connor Barwin alone are going to get it done. So you have to go maybe the kid out of Boise State. They say he's a very good pass rusher. Quentin Couples from North Carolina, I think he'll be gone. But if there's a viable pass rusher in the number 26 spot, I think you take him first.
Do the Texans rest on that 26 spot, or do they try to move up to get one of these guys that you're talking about?
I think they rest, but if it was up to me, I would actually move back. I'll trade away that 26 and try to pick up an extra second or third round because you see so many guys with successful careers that were drafted in the second, third round. The whole draft is a crapshoot, so I'd rather get extra second, third round pick because the difference between number 26 in the first round and the second rounder is not that much.
Very true.
I'll tell you what, I bet SEC guy would like to see the Texans take Courtney Upshaw. Alabama outside linebacker.
Yeah, a lot of people like to see Courtney Upshaw, except for Brooks Reed. If they get at him, you're talking about a competition for that starting spot.
Will he still be around, do you think?
Oof.
Will he still be around for that 26 pick?
I'm going to say no.
It's impossible to tell.
It's impossible. It's a passing league, and you want guys to get after that quarterback. So, I don't think he'll be around.
I want to ask you about a guy that I think everyone that at least has watched him or has been around the Houston area has scratched their heads when they hear this. But you just keep on hearing when you hear about the draft is Ryan Tannehill. Everyone keeps on saying this guy's going to go not even top first round or second round. This he's going to go like top 5. And they're talking about teams trying to fight over claw who's going to trade up to get him. What do you think about him? How much did you see of him whenever he played at Texas A&M? And what do you think about the league being so desperate for just starve for quarterbacks that a guy like him could go as high as number 4?
Well, you answered it with the last thing that you said. Teams are so desperate for a quarterback. It's so hard just to get a good quarterback. I'm not even talking about great like Drew Brees or Cam Newton or Aaron Rodgers. It's so hard just to get a good quarterback. I believe when they see Tannehill and they see the intangibles, man, you're talking about a kid that played wide receiver successfully. Then he turned around and started 19 games as a quarterback.
Athletic.
Very, very athletic. He grew up in a coaching household, so you know that they've been talking X and O's since he could barely walk. I just think, just like you said, it's the desperation for a good quarterback is making his stock rise.
There you go. Insight from a man who played the game for 12 years in the NFL. His name is ND Kalu, and you can catch him Monday through Friday in the trenches. Now, ND, summertime comes. What are you going to do? Are you going to talk OTAs? Are you going to talk?
You know what? Since the show's only an hour, which is perfect for me, I think there's always something to be said about football. Because right now we're going to talk draft. After the draft, we're going to talk about everybody's picks, expectations. Then, like you said, when the summer comes, you're talking about OTAs. And we're going to go around the NFL. We know this is Houston. We're going to talk Dallas, the Texans. But, people want to hear about what's going on in New Orleans. People want to hear about what's going on around the whole NFL.
Do you do college? Are you guys going to do college or just strictly pro?
Just Rice.
Okay. All right. Hey, that's even better.
I like that, man.
A man after Sports Rap Live's heart. That's what I like.
No, are you guys going to touch on college?
No, we will. We'll talk all Texas colleges.
Okay, cool.
Since you're keeping it down here in the South, we got to go a little bit east. Now, give us in 45 seconds your thoughts. I know that's not a lot of time, but give us your thoughts on the Saints and their prospects going into 2012.
You know what? Everyone, they're not even thinking about the draft because of what's going on. They need to sign Drew Brees. I don't understand what the owner is thinking by saying he's not elite, so we don't want to give him elite money. That's somebody you have to lock up. I don't care if you have to trade away a first-round pick to make sure you have the money. They need to get Drew Brees signed up and happy.
I think especially without Peyton being there this year too as well, I think, those guys are going to be looking to a familiar face for leadership and somebody they can count on. And Drew's proven himself to be a leader, to be a champion, and to take these guys as far as they can go. And I think, when the chips are down, I think they're going to be looking at him to lift the spirits up.
One last point on that. How does it look to Drew Brees when the owner of the Saints goes across the street and throws down $380 million on a broke basketball team? I'm just saying, that doesn't look too good, son. That's not a good look, son. That's for sure. All right, we got to go to break. Yeah, exactly. All right, Indy, thank you so much, man. We can talk 2 hours on NFL, and we will do that with you as we head into the draft, into the summer, and into the 2012 fall NFL season.
I'll see y'all at Christian's next Thursday. And I got my, Gary Trichter number because I am going to be drinking that night.
Very good. He's an honest man, ladies and gentlemen. And you can hear him 10 to 11 a.m. on Sports Talk 790. You can hear us when we get back from this break. Talk to the Texas Roller Derby girls. H-Town in the building. And I can't wait to get them on the microphone. So, take care, brother. Thank you so much, Andy. Appreciate it. All right, we'll be right back here on Sports Rap Live.